Welcome to the Separation Anxiety in Dogs Decoded podcast. I am your host, Ness Jones, and we'll be deep diving into all things separation anxiety. But before we get started, please make sure you like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you never miss another one. And don't forget, if you are interested in joining my easy step-by-step training program to resolve separation anxiety in your dog, you'll find the link in the show notes. Now let's get started. Hello, and we are back, and I'm quite excited about the next two episodes. So this episode, I am going to be talking about what you should say or perhaps do when you leave your dog at home alone. And in the next one, we are going to be addressing how you should behave or what you should say when you return from your dog's home alone time. So let's get started. Firstly, we don't have to say anything as we walk out the door, but if we do decide to do so, then we want something that makes us smile and feel good about leaving your dog. And so you're not feeling anxious because you don't want your dog to pick up on that. Saying something can be similar to a pre-departure cue, as in you say, I'm going out. And they could be thinking in their little brains, oh, this is really scary, this is bad. But if you introduce a word they haven't heard before into your training, and it only denotes safe absences, then they should build a really good association with that word. Oh, she's saying that. I know she is going out, but I'm always feeling confident about being home alone when she says that word. So it could have a good effect, but obviously we don't want to say a word and then they are going over threshold and getting worried about every time you say that word, it's scary for them. Now, one of the things I've noticed a lot with my clients is that they might be doing a number of warm-up steps or pre-steps to their long duration, their target time. And as they get to that very, very last step, which is the one they want, the finishing post, and that's the one that, allows us to go up or down in time, and hopefully it's a rise in time for the next session, they can get a little bit concerned, a little bit anxious about how their dog's going to do. Now, I totally understand that, because you can imagine you're so invested in the process of a successful training session, so you can keep building that gradual exposure therapy and desensitization to longer and longer absences. It's natural that you feel a little bit anxious about leaving the dog. Unfortunately, your anxiety can then flow on to your dog's anxiety. So that's not a great thing to happen. And I've had many, many clients say, oh yeah, I definitely get a bit worried, a bit anxious, a bit on edge for that very last step. So what can we do to remedy this? Now, I like to call them magic words. So what magic words are we going to say to the dog that make you feel good about leaving them? So something that makes you smile. So you could put on your best Arnie voice, your best Terminator voice, and say, I'll be back. Me personally, I usually say, just be good. They know when I'm leaving. You could say, hang on, how do you say it? Abracadabra. Abracadabra. But something, you could say bananas, elephants, rivers of gold, anything you like that makes you smile when you walk out the door. One of my recent clients, she says, cheerio, old chap. And I think that is a really good thing for her to do, because it makes her smile. I can see that she's feeling good about leaving her dog. So her dog's not going to be too concerned when he hears those words. The thing is, we need to relax when we're walking out the door. That's really, really important. So if you are feeling tense, what can you do about it? So there's a few things you can do. Might be deep breathing. I mean, you may have some calming music on, and we will be talking about calming music in a later episode. But just suffice to say right now that if you are introducing calming music to your training, you firstly need to do that outside of training, so the dog has an association that when I hear this particular music, I know that it's quiet time, restful time. It's not playtime. It's not running around the house like a Looney Tunes time. It's quiet time. So then they've built that association. Then you can add it into your training. But if you're playing something that makes you feel calm, it's also going to make your dog feel calm. So calming your mind, maybe some sort of meditation, if that's the sort of thing that you like, grounding yourself, taking some moments to take a deep breath, in a sense, like just to calm your mind and your body and any adrenaline that might be going on, or cortisol or stress hormones, what have you. Just calm before you walk out that door. There is one thing you could do. You don't have to be into yoga to do this, because it's actually a very easy exercise to do. There's an exercise in yoga called standing forward fold. Basically, it's really simple. You're standing up and you bend at the waist and you hang, kind of thing, and you let the blood rush to your head, and it's really, really calming, and it can give you some clarity as well with your thought processes. And that is, if you're not sure how to do it, just jump onto your web browser, search for yoga standing forward fold, and it's not really too much of a yoga exercise, in the sense that you're not turning yourself into a pretzel, so you'll be fine. Everybody can do this, and if you couldn't do it standing, you can do it in a chair. But that forward folding is actually really good to calm the mind. So there's things like that. So finding a word that makes you smile before you walk out the door, that you can introduce into your training. And of course, your dog's always going to have those safe absences. Making sure that you are relaxed, making sure that you're not worried about how they're going to go, because that's going to impact your dog. Now, a note on dogs that maybe can't hear you, because obviously there are some dogs that are blind or deaf. So what do we do? So for them, we could put out, for the ones that can see, some sort of visual cue. So you could perhaps tie a big red ribbon onto the back of a chair, which is going to be denoting the safe absence. Again, it does sound like a pre-departure cue. Here's something that shows your dog that you are leaving, but that's okay, because it's denoting a safe absence. So a visual cue, whatever that might be, it could be getting out something from the cupboard and leaving it on the bench, or whatever it is, for your household. That means, hey, I am going, but it's okay. Or perhaps for the blind dog, you could use a scent, like a particular scent, obviously nothing toxic for the dog, but just a smell that they smell. The only time they smell it is when you're about to leave them. Or possibly a light touch. And that goes for the same with a sleeping dog. So if your dog is sleeping and you wanted to do some training, you don't want to go and rouse them up. First of all, you don't want to sneak out on your dog, because imagine if you went, oh, they're asleep, now's a good time to go out, and then they wake up when you're not there and they have an absolute meltdown. So that would be very detrimental to your training, not a great idea. So if your dog is sleeping, it's usually quite a good time to train, because they're relaxed. They've got to be relaxed to sleep, right? But we don't want to sneak out on them. So what you would do is perhaps go and gently give them a nice stroke, just so they're a little bit more in the room, a little bit more aware of what's going on. Light touch, good dog, settle, and then you can leave. So you haven't disturbed them, you haven't roused them up. They're aware that you're leaving, but they're still in resting mode. So that's my take on what you should do when you are leaving. Some sort of magic words. I couldn't say it for some reason. Abracadabra, or cheerio, old chap, or I'll be back. And of course, find something that makes you smile and puts a smile on your face, and relax. You have been listening to Ness Jones on the Separation Anxiety in Dogs Decoded podcast. Don't forget to check out the show notes to learn more about my programs and how I can help you with tailored training. Until next time.